Hi everyone, back again, and today I'm going to talk about thank you cards. I had some people reach out and ask questions about the etiquette, the normal practices, who to send a thank you card to after a funeral, who not to, and I got a lot of different feedback when I asked different funeral directors their thoughts and, what they normally tell families. So to mix most of the consensus together, I heard pretty much overwhelmingly that you always send a thank you card to someone that sent condolence gifts, donations, flowers, sympathy cards, mass cards, that's for sure. And then another sentiment that I know my father always says is technically whoever comes to the wake, you're thanking them for their support and condolence, in person. You'll notice when you go to funeral homes these days, you're seeing less register books that have specifically spelled out address lines. I noticed that as a new trend a couple years ago, especially now that we're outsourcing our register books and prayer cards to an amazing graphic design team, Memorial Products, that creates everything we need. The lines on the register book don't say name and address, they're just lines. So it kind of leaves it up to the discretion of the people signing the wake. And I have noticed in attending wakes that when it doesn't specifically say name and address, and actually even when sometimes it does, people just write their names and not their address. Another line of thought that I have is kind of along the lines of read the room, but read the mourner, read the bereaved. Everyone has different feelings on the bereavement side when you lose someone that you love. Some people in that situation might feel comforted and almost enjoy writing thank you cards. I mean, I know I wrote some when my grandfather died, and it felt really wonderful to do. I almost found it somewhat healing, just sending some personal messages out. Sometimes I didn't write a thank you card. I, made a plan with the person to kind of thank them in person. Or, I would give a phone call and say, I'm a little overwhelmed with writing thank you cards, so I just wanted to tell you that I acknowledge, your support and I thank you for it. Overall, in our industry, you hear thank you cards called acknowledgement cards more than you'd technically call them thank you cards, because really the gesture is about the bereaved acknowledging the outpour of support and love from the people that are in their network. So you might know the bereaved really well, and they might be the kind of person that maybe always sends thank you cards, and you'd know that because it'd be for birthday parties, baby showers, wedding showers, all of it. Always a thank you card, even little outings. I have people in my life that'll send a thank you card. And there are some people that are just too overwhelmed, too stressed, too distraught, and feel like everything is an extra task. That's an overwhelming feeling when you're in the midst of grief. And some people have that experience. I mean, the thought of making decisions is a task that's really heavy. So writing thank you cards, sometimes the pressure when people put support in the mourner's, the ball in the mourner's court. What I mean by that is, when you put it on them to indicate the support, hey, call me when you're ready to hang out, or, tell me how I can support you. Sometimes that's great, but sometimes that's pressureful for some personalities, because then it's really stressful and overwhelming to think of, well, I don't even know what I need and what I want, and I can't even think. So know the mourner. There are people that are very task-driven. There are people that have different comfort levels. There are some people that might just have different time frames. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 weeks after a funeral before someone feels like they have the bandwidth, even though they really want to write thank you cards. It takes a while to get to that place where you have the mindset to do it, the energy to do it, and that it feels like something good that's gonna feel good and healing to them. If the notion of tasks and decisions and thank you cards and obligations, sometimes that people assume that are there, when all those things bring stress upon someone, and you know that about your friend or loved one's personality when they're bereaved, then maybe you could kind of give them an offhanded gesture that lets them know, hey, I see you and you're overwhelmed, and I just want to put it out there that I don't need a thank you card. You could just kind of leave it out there, I I am hugging you right now, and I am here for anything that you need. I would love to say, cook you dinner sometime, do a load of laundry. We could even go get a drink and scream at the beach. You give a couple of examples and say, no pressure. I know that you appreciate my support and my love and my willingness to be here for you. So I just want to release the burden from you and the obligation of feeling like I need a thank you card. So just check me off the list. And that being said, if you want some help writing thank you cards, I'm your gal. So there's so many different ways that you can show your support and have a different perspective on things. Because since there are different ways of looking at who deserves a thank you card, who should get a thank you card, when not to send a thank you card, even just thinking about that is stressful. It just gets too much. And I just totally lost my train of thought. So in summary, everyone grieves differently. Etiquette is not black and white. There are different traditions, rituals, thoughts, feelings, morals that affect etiquette in different areas and different ethnic groups. There's all different ways to look at etiquette. It's subjective. So be real, be genuine, and follow the lead of the mourner. When you second guess yourself and you're not sure how to show support, give a hug and say, I don't know how to support you, but I want to find a way. I wish that I could figure out what would help you. Be honest, be vulnerable, and try it out. Try out giving the gift of letting the mourner know that you can check them off of the to-do list for writing a thank you note, because you don't need one and you already appreciate the love and gratitude from the friend that you gave it to. So yeah, let's keep talking about all these topics, and I'll keep polling funeral directors and do whatever research I can do to help get the answers to any of your questions. I want this industry to come out of the casket, so to speak. There aren't enough people talking about what we do, why we do it, and I don't mean we as funeral directors, I mean we as humans. What we do to memorialize, how we do it, what we need from it, what we assume we need to do. There's so many different ways of looking at helping people through the end of life, which happens to everybody. So why not talk about it in a comfortable space? And that's all that I want to provide. Till next time.